What's up, Hippo lovers? T90's Titans League, and we are in the quarterfinals. TaToH against Mr. Yo. You can see the draft at the side, and we can directly jump into the action because I want to fit this in 15 minutes, the soul said. So we have TaToH playing humans against Mr. Yo's Gojaras. On Ghost Lake, obviously lots of extra sheep, and that's already the first good thing here for Mr. Yo because he's finding quite some, as you can see, 10 inside already, and found another 4 on top. And TaToH is playing the extra 1 TC, but only after a scout opening that did mediocre damage. More aggression coming from Mr. Yo with the tower rush, but TaToH deals with it reasonably well. As you can see, went for the defensive archery range here himself and shut down the aggression quite nicely. As you can see, 14 villages ahead, but still not up on the way to Castle Age. So Mr. Yo will get some time. That tower is still annoying. TaToH was pushed over to less efficient woodline. Jumping into mid Castle Age, we both had heavily committing on camels here. TaToH realizing, okay, I need to make something happen because in Imperial Age, army composition might not be the very best. And we can see TaToH only now adding the 3rd TC, while Mr. Yo was playing on 4 TC for quite some time. TaToH couldn't really find the aggression. Then we see the big fights here coming in. And now more conversions. Mr. Yo in quite some trouble military-wise behind, but how can TaToH find the aggression in Castle Age? It felt like a pike push was needed, or maybe some mistake by Mr. Yo, but he was fully house-walled. The defense was here. TaToH decided, okay, I need to break you, and went for lots of aggression. As you can see, endless amount of forward villagers here, 28 on stone, hallelujah, and forward castle to pressure that gold. But Mr. Yo was already on the way to Imperial Age, military-wise heavily behind though, but needs to break that house, and that's going to be pretty tricky here, finding some time. And then we had the massive fight in Castle Age. As you can see, 44 camels against 32, finally messed up. But it is the heavy camel upgrade with Gojara extra bonus. And TaToH trying to take the fight, but Mr. Yo delayed so nicely. TaToH then realized, okay, damn, camel versus camel, not an option. Tried to tag into pikemen and into Kipchaks, got cleared up at home. But then we had the switch into chakram throwers already prepared, and TaToH realized, damn, your army composition just too strong. Felt like a really tough matchup here for humans. Game 2 is a truly confusing one to me. I tried to rewatch it twice now and couldn't really come up with the reason why the things happened that happened, basically. Yeah. TaToH is playing Portuguese and Mr. Yo is playing Britons. And typical approaches from Portuguese are obviously forward castle, trying to go for Orients, trying to go for the big aggression. And Mr. Yo therefore played an interesting build order. He played against the pretty standard 23+2, a 22 pop timing with 3 on gold. Now it's going for both eco upgrades. And that's basically perfect against maybe early castles, like pop 21 or maybe pop 23+2, I'm not really sure. And obviously against tower rushes, right? You can build the archer range quite nice and early, could defensively tower, could go for early loom if he wanted to. Is out here with the scout. TaToH was inside, quite clever. And TaToH is playing a pretty standard game. And this was really confusing to me in so many levels. Now we're taking the major scout fight here. And TaToH is just deciding to take it. Obviously a big gamble on both sides. Not really sure why we went for this. Especially for Mr. Yo's side. Because he wants to figure out what the opponent is going for. Loses the scout war. And now completely in the dark. And as we can see, still really scared. Not really sure if TaToH saw anything at this point. Obviously archer range is too far back, 350 stone only, so didn't really focus on that too much, and actually decided to go for the boom. Also went for the monastery, siege workshops, while archers were trying to control the map. And as you can see, Castle Age timing heavily delayed. And that's why we see TaToH with an eco lead here. Yeah, behind an eco upgrade surely. But this fight in the center also shows you that Mr. Yo heavily invested into crossbows. Tries to snipe the monks, but TaToH doing a really good job doing the damage. And yeah, dives quite nicely. Now even some healing coming up. I don't even remember. And what a crazy save. What a crazy save here. with his monks now healing indeed. Scorpions did all the damage. And TaToH ahead in economy, now thinks, okay, where do I build my castle? Changes his mind 2 or 3 times. And Mr. Yo just heavily behind in economy. Such a weird scenario here by Mr. Yo, and maybe some mind games that I didn't understand. Certainly something for an after interview, because TaToH, he just gets the castle versus castle, heavily uses the market, while Mr. Yo's economy, 3TC, so heavily delayed, simply not up to par, and the rush to Imperial Age easily won by the Portuguese player. Obviously didn't have to invest into all the upgrades when it comes to crossbow, when it comes to botkin. So many eco upgrades compared to only one. So TaToH heavily focused on the fast imp, would easily win the trap war here. And Mr. Yo realizes, damn, this is not really the spot that I can fight against. Even goes for the Vittoria behind. And TaToH takes pretty easy 1-1. Game 3, the map of maps. TaToH playing Khmer, we see Mr. Yo playing Frank, so we're expecting a lot of scouts on the field, and that's indeed the opening that both players went for. TaToH with a way faster uptime, though, as you can see, stable already built, while the other one is sitting at 30%, and that 50-second delta gave him quite some aggression, and he was annoying, got in with the scouts, but nice trap by Mr. Yo. As you can see, the full Chinese potato base already finished here, and well, Spearman scaring this one away, so TaToH not really finding too much damage there, and lots of other players would have transitioned into castle edge, but not TaToH, forcing a tower at the wood line, and then, as you can see, still on stone, also towering the gold. And with Mr. Yo's map, gold over here, gold over there, going to be really tricky, and Mr. Yo only now sends villagers onto stone himself, so couldn't counter tower, and is pushed away from that gold. While we can see TaToH, 13 scouts still producing. He's going for lots and lots of feudal aggression against a castling opponent. Only 5 villagers on gold here. That one is building a house. And Mr. Yo really struggled to get more gold out. As we can see, more aggression here. Needed to rewall. Is going for some aggression himself. Went for lots of knights, but limited on the gold. So couldn't really produce here. As we can see, TaToH is going for spearmen. Is going for scouts. Tried to rest. And is constantly finding more and more damage. Got in there with light cav eventually, and Mr. Yo really struggled to get onto proper knight numbers. The aggression at the front, at least taking gold there. But as you can see, Mr. Yo even slipping up from time to time. TaToH going full aggression in the end, even, or not in the end, but afterwards he even built a town center here, trying to reclaim his gold. Mr. Yo is trying to boom, but as you can see, villager count completely out of this world for TaToH again. Now we see some aggression from Mr. Yo, being the sneaky one with the mangonels, but we already have the monks prepared as well. And TaToH, it felt like he had a lot of answers here to Mr. Yo, but Mr. Yo, as we know, really good with rebooming behind this. Monks are trying to find some conversions, and they will. Mangonel here is getting killed. The scouts are trying to find some kills, and they also will. So pretty reasonable, even trade, transitioning into late castle age. While we see Mr. Yo, yeah, his economy was really good, even caught up completely. But TaToH again, lots and lots of castle age aggression prepared out of him. Lots of stables here that he's producing out of, even adding more. Forward castle next to this goal, trying to take that crucial hill. Lots of villagers are dying, trying to get there. Really nice interception there by Mr. Yo. But TaToH, he simply did not stop producing. As we can see, 38 knights against 12 now. So again, lots of production here. And this time, there was no big advantage here of heavy cavalry versus camel. It was the cavalier versus knight advantage though. Mr. Yo, he was looking out for trying to find the hold. Mr. Yo, defensive castle, will get the trap, but starting TC will be lost, and TaToH, he was hungry for more. Counterattacks were happening, but we saw the double castle defense going for more pike. Here is the defense as well, and TaToH, yeah, he suffered quite some losses, but he dealt a lot of damage at the front as well. As you can see, already 2 castles down, and he just continued to raid. 67 population now against 170. And Mr. Yo, well, he has quite some fighting spirit in himself and was continuing to go for even a longer game. Both players in the end went for herbal medicine, healed up their units, but Pike and Imp in the end sold it for Mr. Yo. And TaToH is taking Arabia. Big W for him. Game 4 was an absolute beauty. Lithuanians for Mr. Yo. TaToH is playing with the Japanese here on cross. And, well, the typical build-up, right? Everyone builds the dock in their back, so nothing too special there. And we see the man-at-arm opening out of Japanese and Lithuanians, struggling a bit with a later uptime, trying to wall all this off. But Mr. Yo does a reasonable job here for sure. Defensive tower, counter tower, trying to build a new tower, another defensive tower, and the men-at-arms, well, they are dealing some damage but not finding the major kills. But a sneaky dock behind this, so good chance for TaToH to take some advantages there. And that's indeed what he did. Took that pawn, the right hand side is contested, left hand side Mr. Yo is not even going for. But Mr. Yo is looking pretty solid and well walled up. TaToH winning the pawn at the top, at least so I thought. And Mr. Yo, somehow without a single farm, without anything on berries, without having any proper fish, with only 2 on food, managed to get up to castle. He heavily used the market here and, well, that was simply his way to get to castle age. Could afford some knights, could put on some pressure, and the archer skirm didn't really achieve too much. Mr. Yo stabilized quite nicely there with very little food eco. Even takes the left hand side pawn, while TaToH takes the right hand side pawn. Got to the defensive castle here, and from here on we are adding quite some lighter scorpions there for the defense as well. And TaToH not really getting into an army composition that can fight Lightest with 2 relics, soon to be 3, and Scorpions, so has to disengage. Got quite a nice imp timing though behind this, as you can see. Bracer, Thumbring, and is pushing quite heavily here. Got quite some numbers out. Just in like 2-3 minutes he will have 70 arbalests, and Mr. Yo, as you can see, only now trying to switch into 8 skirmishes. Really struggled with the hold. TaToH, just nice advantage there for sure, but somehow couldn't really find the kills. As you can see, 46 arbalests here got dwindled down by all the skirmishers, and yeah, 4+6 armor there makes it tough for the arbalests to find a lot of damage. And TaToH, he killed like I would think like 5-6 castles this game, but Lightest raids continued over and over again. Samurai switched now with 40 farmers, but could not afford Elite Samurai for quite some time. And somehow Mr. Yo, Elite Skirm and Lightest did so much, even taking into Winged Hussar, 3 relics, obviously helping out quite a bit. TaToH a bit sloppy here with his traps, but as you can see, so many raids coming in and the mobility just so nice. Felt like Mr. Yo could always decide where to fight, but obviously both players really throwing at it. And then the final fight of the game, Arbalest in the center, Samurai being sent as well. Some of them a bit out of position though, and the final fight going heavily in favor of Mr. Yo. As we can see, 55 Samurais here on the field, but only 20 of them in this fight trying to dive for the bombard cannons that are finding some reasonable shots against these skirmishes. And Samurais, yeah, raiding here, some stopped here, some producing, some at the left-hand side, and therefore this fight was not the one TaToH needed, just got overwhelmed, and 32 Samurais, only 2 of them in this fight. Lightest completely killing the Arbalest in a second, bombard cannons shooting as well, skirms, and TaToH, Elite Samurai earlier was needed, and maybe you could have considered going into some cavalry. 70 Arbalests that achieved very little. Mr. Yo forces a game 5. Deciding game 5 here on Schultz. TaToH is playing Italians, Mr. Yo playing Byzantines. And both players decided to go fast castle. As we can see, 1 galley opening into fire galleys. Mr. Yo also went for fire galleys. Couldn't really get a lot of deep fish for himself compared to TaToH. And also went out to build the extra TC on the outside. TaToH committed a bit more onto water. As we can see, TC a bit delayed here. And lots of control already. Monastery here, tower couldn't really help out too much, but demos are still keeping this water kind of open, obviously. And Mr. Yo played a 2 TC fast imp behind this. As you can see, 27-minute time. Forward castle here was the plan, but TaToH built it just seconds before, and therefore we have a castle standoff. Fast fires will soon be out, and Mr. Yo will win the water, but it's 20 villagers behind. Therefore, TaToH realized, damn, I can't really win the water fight, but my better economy can maybe carry me. Goes for quite some aggression, but Mr. Yo, correct answer, is buying himself some stone, builds the defensive castle, and everything stabilizes. putting us into the spot where this castle falls. TaToH has to give up this castle as well. Population-wise, better for TaToH, but it feels like Mr. Yo gets some control. But look at that, military-wise, 3 spearmen. Need to see a switch happen, archery ranges now being built. And behind all this, not really knowing what's going to happen. Cavalier switch from Mr. TaToH. Even finds the snipe against the tree here. Cavaliers are coming in, being so annoying at so many ends. Raids are coming in as well, stabilizing over here. Yeah, some Cavaliers trying to find some damage, and TaToH even tagged into Hassa's trap will fall. And TaToH with lots and lots of control, and we see Mr. Yo going for pikemen as the defense. Later in, obviously, halberdiers, more and more raids. There was actually a skip, and TaToH just continues to find more damage. Water control still kind of open, now taking into condos, as you can see here, trying to deal with the halberdiers. I think something like camels could have also been a good option here for Mr. Yo, trying to find some answers, because those cavaliers, they were just so mobile, found so many kills, won the trap war with the bombard cannon micro help there of Mr. TaToH himself. And in the end, it is TaToH going into the semifinals against the winner of Viper and Jordan. Condos in the end sealed the deal. Pretty damn nice game. And now I have to ask you, let's trick the YouTube algorithm together. I want some momentum before NAC on my YouTube. So comment, like, subscribe, the usual things over here. And hopefully YouTube will think that my channel is actually entertaining. Goodbye, Hippo lovers. That's it from the 15 minutes quarterfinals.